The MMO community is an odd beast. Every few months, they seem to go nuts over whatever game happens to be releasing soon. They get all excited. This is it, this is gonna be the one. Only to then be savagely thwacked over the head by the frying pan that is their own expectations. After 5 or 6 or 13 rounds of this, a normal person might give up. But not the MMO community. Nope, they just try again with the next upcoming MMO. It's a vicious, abusive cycle, and they love it. Sadly though, we've been in a bit of an MMO dry spell. The last one was, I don't know, I remember Revelation and then just a bunch of expansions. Well, whatever it was, we finally got a new one. Bless Online is hitting Steam Early Access on May 30th, or May 28th if you buy in early, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, if you don't know anything about Bless Online, well, it has a bit of a troubled history, with some failures in other markets and one previous attempt to bring it to the West, which didn't quite happen because shit happens. But after some retooling, namely to the combat, it's almost here and many players throughout the MMOsphere are eagerly anticipating its release, because that's just what we do now. Luckily, NEOWIZ was nice enough to fly me out and put me up in a hotel for a press event, so that I could get an early look at the game. It's important to note that while they paid for my travel and accommodation, they don't get a say in anything that I say in this video, which is going to become really apparent later on. Just wanted to make sure you all were aware. So, I got an early look at Bless Online, and I got to play for maybe like 2 hours, which I believe makes me perfectly qualified to determine its fate. That was sarcasm if you couldn't tell. What I can give is a very base level first impression, and I am very happy to report it's fine. It's solid. You know, I'll even say it's above average. It's not mind-blowing, it's not absolutely amazing, it's not the savior of the genre, it's just good. And that's probably the biggest criticism and yet oddly also some of the best praise I can give the game. Being just good isn't something we've seen a lot of in MMOs lately. Perhaps my opinion will change once I have more time with the game, for better or worse, but for now, just good is what you're getting. Now I could spend this entire video talking about all the features and bullet points of Bless, and I will cover some of that later, but I don't think that's why you're here. So first things first, let's talk about the gameplay. There were 3 available scenarios at the event: playing a brand new character, playing a max level character in the open world, and playing through a high level dungeon. The first thing that I did and where I spent most of my time was in the dungeon. I went through it 3 times. Once as a guardian or a tank, once as a paladin or a healer, and once as a mage or a mage. Though my paladin footage looks like this because whoever set up OBS on this computer wasn't really paying attention, and sadly neither was I. Now, a while back I actually played a paladin on the Korean version of Bless to give myself a small idea of what the game was all about. Sadly though, I didn't play for too long as I just can't get into foreign clients, especially when I know I'm going to be playing through the same thing again in just a few months. With this in mind, I really wasn't prepared when my first outing was being thrown into a high-level dungeon as a tank. Due to our time constraints, I had little to no opportunity to learn my skills or see what stances I had set up. I had to learn on the fly, which is not an ideal situation when you're trying to tank a high-level dungeon, but I digress. Eventually, I started to figure things out though, you know, when I was almost done. The new combat of Bless is extremely hard to describe. It's not action combat like Terra or Black Desert, and yet it's also not tab targeting combat like World of Warcraft. It's an odd hybrid that seems to work for the most part, though can feel incredibly awkward at others. You start off with a limited action bar, and to attack you simply select one of your skills. There will be no auto-attacking or left-clicking to attack here, folks. From here you have some choices. Boy oh boy do you have choices! After using a skill, you were able to combo straight into another one by pressing RT or Y. The last of which I'm seriously hoping I can rebind. Y is not a convenient key for comboing. I was told later on that you could use the mouse for these, using left, middle, and right click, but I never got that to work, so I don't know. Anyway, combos really open things up and give you access to more skills than your small little action bar can offer. From what I saw, I wasn't able to edit these skills, so customizing combos isn't really a thing, though combos did allow you to quickly change your stance. In case you don't know, your character will have 2 different active stances that you can switch between. Again, either through a combo or by hitting the tilde. Look at that tilde finally getting some love. You actually have several stances available to you, however only 2 are active at a time. Switching your stance opens up some new skills for you to use and thus new combos. For example, my 2 guardian stances for the majority of my playtime were both DPS focused stances that provided little tanking ability. After we wiped once, I had some time to look through all of my available stances and found the actual tanking stance, you know, the one that had taunts on it. That would have been helpful for any of this. I only got a small bit of time with the mage, but it appears my stances switched between different elements, I guess. And my paladin switched between a heal spec and a spec that allowed me to protect others while also sacrificing my own health to heal others. I thought that was pretty cool. As I said, this hybrid combat works most of the time. It feels good, has some weight to it, and looks nice and flashy. Frankly, I enjoy it. But if you're looking for it to be more action combat than tab targeted, you're gonna be disappointed. Other than disappointment, your major threat while fighting is going to be red circles, and sometimes non-circular shapes, on the ground. Death comes swiftly in Bless for those who don't pay attention, which appeared to be just about everyone in this case. Now, if you're playing a mana user like Paladin or Mage, mana consumption tended to be your second worst enemy. I wasn't able to just wing spells around willy-nilly. Targets had to be prioritized. The right skills and combos had to be used at the right times. I found this to be a welcome change from most games where you just spam heals and attacks. Switching stances did seem to give you a buff to your mana regeneration, so learning to stance dance may end up being vital to your survival as a mana user. End of the day, the dungeon run was probably the most fun I had while playing the game. After my dungeon runs, I moved over to the open world stuff on a max level character. And here's where things felt a bit off to me. On all of the max level characters I had available, I didn't have any quests to do, and I didn't just want to run around grabbing them randomly, and I couldn't find any events to do. I didn't know what to do on these characters. So I just kind of ran around exploring the world hoping I'd run into something. But oddly, there were very few NPCs or anything wandering in the cities or even outside. The game just felt empty. I don't know if this is something normal, as the low-level areas aren't like this, but it definitely felt weird. There was a noticeable lack of life. Luckily, I did manage to find a few training dummies to test out some skills on the Ranger and a few monsters outside to test the Berserker, but this emptiness was a bit off-putting. However, it was on these characters that I got to test out the Taming System. Bless touts that the majority of animals in the game will be tameable, and to do this, you simply use a craftable scroll that starts up a small mini-game where you hit your spacebar a few times at the right moment. And that's it. It's not super engaging, but at least it's something, I suppose. The last thing I did was play a brand new character for roughly an hour. This is actually what I got to stream, so you may have already seen a bit of this. I really wanted to see what the new player experience was like in Bless. Starting off, the character creator is fairly customizable, with several different races, classes not being gender-locked, the ability to adjust different parts of your body both vertically and horizontally, being given a ton of different hairstyles, colors, etc. I found it to be pretty customizable. As for the low-level gameplay, it appears to be pretty quest-based, and comes off, well, like most other MMOs, at least at the very beginning. You'll simply grab a quest and then go do it, turn it in, and grab another. Most of which appeared to be gather or kill quest, really nothing too major. You can take from this what you will, but I don't think there's anything wrong with not deviating from the standard formula too much, especially at the early game. However, I do hope things start to vary later on. Nicely, the game does appear to have full English voice acting, all of which is pretty well done. So kudos for that. Although that does mean I don't get to plug myself as a voice actor here. Ugh. The video kind of feels naked without it. Now for some of the non-gameplay related stuff I learned about Bless. The game will be buy to play at the base price of $29.99 after May 30th, or you can buy one of the Founders Packs at $39.99, $69.99, or the new lowered price of $149.99. All of which will grant you 2 days head start and a few other benefits which may or may not be worth it to you. Say what you will about the prices, I don't think $30 or even $40 is a bad price for a buy to play MMO. Anything above that and but those are optional, and I don't see anything in those packs that would put you at a disadvantage if you didn't buy them, so it's up to you. Now, one of the benefits for Founders is premium membership time. Yes, there will be some kind of premium membership offered, and earlier today we got some info on this. It appears to offer some premium skins, reduced costs for certain things, some gathering benefits, extra experience. You know, there's a lot here, you can just go read it. That said, I don't feel like anything here is pay to win, at least not yet. Again, maybe when I have more time with the game I'll know exactly how it all interacts and affects gameplay, but for right now it looks alright. Now, I haven't mentioned it just yet, but there will be a cash store in Bless Online. Once again though, we don't know the details of it because it wasn't active during the event. The devs did stress multiple times though that it won't be pay to win, as that's always the concern with cash shops, and that there will only be convenience and vanity items in there. Seeing as I'm not a terribly jaded person, I'm not gonna fret about it too much at this point. Again, there's no use in speculating, we'll just have to wait and see. If you're really afraid of the game being pay to win, just hold off buying in for now, wait until the game launches and reports start coming in, and then buy in if you want. That's it. I was really happy I got to go to the event. I met some awesome creators, got to talk with the devs, and most importantly, after getting some hands-on time with the game, I'm still excited for Bless. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. All in all, it's not something terribly different from what's already out there. So if you're looking for something brand new that's really gonna change the genre, Bless probably isn't for you. But it appears to be well done and has some effort put into it. It doesn't feel like a game that was made in an easy bake oven. It's solid, and really, I feel like that's all we need at this point in MMO gaming. I don't think we need something major to come in and shake things up right now. Don't get me wrong, it'd be nice, but it's not necessary. A lot of us just need something new that's good enough to entertain us for more than a few months. And perhaps Bless will end up being that and have staying power. Or perhaps it won't. We don't know yet. We'll just have to wait and see. And that's half the fun, right?